Everything is offensive to somebody. I'm offended by your comment. I wonder, is there a person in the world that would actually be offended by this comment? Like truly offended. I'm not sure. Because those that could find that offensive are so, because they don't find things offensive, are so much advanced in life hacking, in what life is, you know? They just can't find that comment personal. You need to take something personal to get offended. Like you have to, something has to like ding inside of you to get offended. Like, it has to tilt you personally, your common sense, your beliefs, your view on things. It has to tilt something. And if someone is so advanced, like, he can't get tilted. Right? Be fair, some of us were raised by wolves. I'm so sorry. Also, I might be slightly, tiny, little bit... I might envy you a little bit. Linus Torvald said one time, who gets offended should be offended. Ooh, that's pretty savage. That's pretty savage. But you know, P, I can to a certain extent, agree with that, but also like I gotta disagree. I just remembered, I didn't tell you guys, I just remembered that I don't know who here from chat told us that we should watch one movie. That we should watch a movie called Green Book. Like, that movie is so fucking amazing. I think it won the Oscar or something, right? It won 3 Oscars, right? So I was like, I don't usually watch Oscar movies because they're usually like super fucked up and sad. But I was like, okay, let's watch this movie. Theta started and I just like lurk and then I continue watching. It's an amazing movie, you know. And so who doesn't know what this movie is about? It's about a piano guy who is like amazing pianist in, I don't know what age, 1960s, but he's black, right? He's black. And like the Green Book is actually, I didn't know anything about that. I know very little about black culture, or, you know, I'm learning, right? I'm learning, so I don't know much. So I didn't know it was so dangerous at that time. It was so dangerous to, as a black man, or a woman for that matter, to go in the areas where only whites were, right? It was so fucking dangerous that there were some people who actually wrote a guidebook. Like, if someone had to go from country to country, they had this guidebook called Green Book. It's a real thing that was full of like which roads you should take, which motels can you go into, like which areas to avoid, which areas to like never go to because you would get like, it's unfucking believable what rules were at that time. Like, a black person could not dine in the same room. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know, it's just like, I don't understand. I never understood things like that. I fucking never understood things like that. It's just beyond my comprehension. Like, my parents are not the most open people in the world. But, like, I was, you know, I knew from an early age, people are people. People are people. And, like, even if I would get guided in some way, like, you know, you should maybe not hang out with these guys, with that guy. Like, I didn't want to have influence from anyone, in my opinion. Like, you know, it's... My best friend from childhood was Romani. My best friend from childhood was Romani. We were playing on the streets fucking constantly. Okay, so, you know, I never let anyone say anything bad to her, you know. She was my friend. That's it, you know. Is she a good person? Is she a bad... Like, it was so simple for me when I was a kid. And as I grew up, it got even more simple. Like, you know... Is that person bothering you? No. Let her be. Are they bothering you? Yes. Okay. Deal with it, you know, and let him be. It is what it is. It's just so fucking weird, you know, and watching things like that, it's just I just can't believe what these people went through, you know, what these people went through. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so bad on so many ways, on so many levels. It's just... Anyway, guys, whoever wants to watch that movie, it's an amazing, amazing movie about friendship and about, you know how I often talked on the streams? I think I would talk about that more often when I was playing League of Legends, because it was way more youngsters on the chat back then. Like, it kind of... Like, if someone is a complete opposite of you, like a complete opposite, you gotta try to find a middle. You gotta try to find middle, because like if you're here and they're there, and if you're not the one who makes the first step, they for sure won't make the first step. You can't expect them to kind of like make the first step towards understanding you if you're being a fucking douchebag or like super unreachable or unrelatable. You know, you gotta kind of like work towards the middle. It's how everything works in life, from relationship to whatnot, but especially with people who are like completely different than you, that you think are completely different than you. And then with time, you're gonna see and you're gonna notice that they're not so much different. They just kind of grew up in different freaking circumstances, and it got you, you know, and it feels like there's someone super different than you, but they're really not. You know, you gotta give people chance. You gotta give people chance. We're still kind of similar, stupid. Yeah, but that's an everyday work, P. That's an everyday work for us. Like, you gotta work on that. You gotta work on your patterns, on things that make you angry, sad. You gotta work on that. The only way to deal with that is to work on yourself as a human being. And as you work on yourself as a human being, I promise you won't get more frustrated, more angry. You will just keep on getting less and less frustrated, angry. You know, you will get to understand more and more people, where they come from, why they do things like they do. You know, it's very hard to say that. Like, I can sit and have lunch with people who kind of I don't have a lot in common. Like, to the point where I before fought those people. Like, I fought with them. I was like, you're wrong. You're so wrong. I can now sit and have lunch with those people. I didn't lose me. I didn't lose my beliefs. But I realized that my anger and me trying to prove something to someone who has completely opposite beliefs of me, it can't happen if I'm doing that on an angry way. It just can't happen. It just can't freaking happen. Like, you can't... If someone tells you the glass is obviously blue, if you say the glass is blue, they say the glass is green, you can't fight him. You can't fight him. You don't know what maybe he doesn't even see blue. You can't fight him, but with time, and like slowly approaching towards that topic by not talking about that topic, you can get people to kind of like start thinking. The point is that you need to start thinking with your own head. They need to start thinking with their own head. How many times your parents told you something? Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do this. Don't wave on your chair. Don't how do you call that? Don't wiggle on your chair. Don't wiggle on your chair. Don't wiggle on your chair. You wiggled on your fucking chair until that moment you fucking fell on your back and you almost killed yourself. You didn't listen to them. Because you didn't take that personally. You're like, okay, I'll never fall, I'll never fall, and then you fucking fell. And then you almost fucking killed yourself completely, and then you were like, okay, I'm not, you know what, I'm not wiggling on the chair anymore. But you had to learn that. You had to learn that in your own way. It doesn't have to be that drastical. You don't have to like super fall down or break your collarbone like Teta Eva. But you know, you gotta something has to click in your brain. You have to take it very personally. You have to take it very personally. How many people like... So, my uncle, he's like a very specific person. He's a very specific person. He's very loud. He's very, 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 very... He's probably celebrity number one in Croatia when it comes to news. He loves to be part of the news, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so people have certain opinion about... People who never met him have certain opinion of him. It's usually pretty bad, because also he's like he's not scared of saying what he thinks, and then like, you know, media take that and kind of like mold you into something. Like, they always take things out of context, etc., etc. I can't count, guys, how many times I had people approaching me, or when I was with him, approaching him, when they met him in real life, when they had a chance to talk with him for like a couple of minutes, maybe we were on the same lunch somewhere, this or that. Like, I can't tell you number of times people came and said like, oh my God, he's such a different person in real life. Like, I have a completely different picture of that person in my head. Like, I had no idea. Like, seriously, guys, uncountable amount of times. So that's the thing, you know. That's the thing. Until people kind of experience something a little bit on a personal level, it's very easy to kind of just like take the opinions of others, right? And like, I guess working on your consciousness, as they constantly mention that, consciousness is actually kind of like experiencing things on your own and deriving conclusions on your own. And the more you think, the less you're going to be a person who is fucking frustrated, full of anger and whatever, for sure. Because like, you're gonna focus on yourself. After you focus on yourself, you're just gonna kind of like realize what's more important and what's less important, you know. And you're just gonna freaking focus on the things which are more important. And everybody knows, like, it's 100% the same. Like, you know, what's more important? Your own happiness, this, that, working on yourself, getting to be better you or whatever. Like, nobody who is working on themselves so much can focus on other people's lives. No one. Like, you don't have time for that. You have only 24 hours, and now your 24 hours in a day got full with new tasks of you trying to figure out, you know, how you live your life, not someone else. And like, when you don't think about others as much, you don't think things personally. And when you don't think things personally, you can think more objectively, right? When you can think objectively, you're not driven by your emotions. When you're not driven by your emotions, but you're just like being pure, objective, totally out of the story, like, that's probably the truest answer you can always give. Because like, you're not, like, you rule your emotions then. Your emotions don't rule you. You rule your emotions, and you're like, okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, this is shit, this is shit, this is okay, this is shit, you know? And you just derive a conclusion out of that. But you gotta make the initial steps. Like, if you don't do initial steps, you can always just blah 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 talk. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes. Oh my God, so many people. Yes, I know. I should have. I know I should have. But that I should have never fucking happens. It's crazy. It's crazy.